We're talking with Chuck Ashley, New Iberia, Louisiana. Chuck Ashley, and we want to present for those who are ever out there. Maybe they want to get involved to help. So led to so do. So, Chuck, I thank you for taking the time and talking with us here.
Sir, you're welcome.
If you would, you want to take us back and give us a little bit about the Chuck Ashley story, I guess, from birth till a certain point in time in your life, and then we'll take it from there.
Well, my parents moved to Louisiana when I was 5, divorced when I think I was 11, and at that point, my dad and I went to live with his parents in Centerville. I had started, went through grade school. I was in 7th grade there in Centerville. Then I went from 7th grade till I finished.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in 1975, and then back in that era, you could go a half a day, half a year. So I would go to school a half a day, and then maybe work in the cane fields the other half of the day until dark, just for extra money, until I was old enough, to get a job with my dad, which I had to be 18 to get on water. But because of that reason, I couldn't go on water, so they put me hot shot driving.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on my days off, and I went through all. I graduated with my class. My dad had put a down payment on a car, and the deal was that not the down payment. I mean, and I was going to pay the first. He was going to pay the first 6 months insurance, and I was going to pay the notes because I had a job lined up, but I just couldn't go in water because of my age.
Right.
So he was a dredge boat captain, and anyway, I went back. I got the car the 11th of May, and I went on stage, graduated with my class the 22nd of May. Then I broke my neck the 4th of July. So I got to drive it. It was a Mustang too. That was it was better than walking, or hitchhiking. It was my main mode of transportation back in the day.
Right. So you got to drive the car a little bit, but on July 4th, tell us about the incident. When and how did it happen?
Actually, it was. I can't remember if it was a Saturday or a Sunday, but it was in the summertime, July 4th. Me and a bunch of friends, we decided to go swimming.
Mm-hmm.
We've been out to Vernors Point, and we'd been out there all day. And I mean, they had all kind of people out there. People that were camping, and just they was on skis, just doing all kind of stuff out there.
Sure.
It was just that was the place to do it. So we've been out there all day. Well, I guess around 4:00 in the afternoon, me and two friends decided, well, let's go swimming because it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
And I love being on water,
Mm-hmm.
And my friend Scott as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we stayed in the bayou, which was the nastiest thing on earth, but I had a lot of fun on it. But, anyway, decided to go swimming this particular day around 4:00 afternoon, and me and my friend Scott and another guy stood on the pollards, and we dove.
Mm.
And I meant to make my body shallow dive, but instead of it coming right back up, I hit bottom. And when it hit, I broke C4 and C5, both vertebrae in my neck, and it paralyzed me. But at that given point, I didn't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
All I knew is that something was definitely wrong because I couldn't move anything.
Right. Right. Right.
So I was trying to swim, but like I said, my body was in the motion of a flip. So the first thought came to my mind, golly, if I want to get up to the surface of the water, I hold my breath. So I held my breath, and I had started aspirating water, but there was just way, way too much Burns Point water for me to drink. I couldn't drink all of that,
Mm-hmm.
And finally, the two guys that I was going swimming with me, Scott and this other guy, they waded over to me right when they picked me up. I was just about to drown. I had one breath. I was about to go under because I just couldn't. I couldn't drink anymore. I was, I was drowning.
Right.
And so then they asked me what was wrong. I said, I don't know. I can't move anything.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand. I figured, well, I would go to the hospital and possibly give me a shot and I'd be on my way. Well, little did I know what a life-changing moment that would have been for me. I
Right.
mean, I
Right.
went through school. It was in my senior year, and I graduated. I never had failed, no, all throughout school. And so Scott and that other guy would carry me up some steps, and they was going. They had all this green algae stuff on the steps, so they went from the first step to the third step. And as I was going up, I slipped out of their hands and I fell back below the steps. So they had to come back in a second time to get me.
Mm-hmm.
So then the second time they made it up on land and laid me out, and they kept, people gathered around me, and still I wasn't able to move anything. I was conscious, but then I started my breathing was getting compromised. And they had a man that was running the Intercoastal Canal Bridge. Well, he had the bridge up, letting all the boats coming in and out from, the bay get into the Intercoastal Canal, and the sheriff's office in St. Mary Parish had to call him and tell him to put the bridge down so the ambulance could cross to get me.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they got me in the ambulance and put me in a neck collar, and I never lost consciousness.
Right.
And then they brought me to Franklin Foundation. They gave me a shot for pain, sent me on to Lafayette General, where from the 4th of July till the 15th, I was there 11 days, which I don't remember a whole lot because I was so sedated. But the last thing I remember was the neurosurgeon. They were shaving the sides of my head, getting ready to put me in traction.
Mm-hmm.
And little did I know, like I said, I thought, well, I'm going to get a little shot or two or whatever, and I'm going to be okay. Paralysis was never on my mind. It was being, I never thought, this was going to happen to me. I didn't know kind of what the word meant, let alone it, being considered paralyzed.
Sure.
But I stayed there 11 days, and what happened was I began to die. I started having a lot of spinal cord complications, so they sent me to Houston at a Texas Institute of Rehab and Research, where this hospital specializes in spinal cord injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in traction, number one, but number two, my lungs had collapsed, so I had a trach on me, and I breathed off of a breathing machine probably from July until probably sometime in September before I actually got off, because my lungs, thank God my lungs came back. I was able to use that, but, I'm only able now just to, I can move my arms. Now, none of my fingers I can move. I can't move my legs at all.
Right.
But, and I'm very thankful for what I do have. It didn't, like, say, mess up my brain or anything like that, just how it could have been a lot worse.
Sure. We're talking with Chuck Ashley. BrandonsPennies.org is going to be the website for folks to go to, because we have an objective here that, as you've heard, Chuck, from July 4th, 1975, here we are into 2015. And you describe a day in the life now, I guess, for you, because we want to get your vehicle, which is your van, paid off so that you can have extra living expenses. So if you don't mind itemizing or tell us about a day in the life of Chuck Ashley right now, and what because you have goals and you have aspirations,
right,
and you don't want to just sit around the house, do you?
No, not at all. I mean, I went to college since I broke my neck, and I got my degree, and the whole problem now, I have a volunteer position at the sheriff's office here locally in my town, where I can go and volunteer my time. I get up. I picked up around 9 o'clock, and they bring me back home around 3, and I have to pay. There's gasoline expenses, just upkeep of the van, but more importantly, just to make the van note. I had 2 vans prior to this, and I had them for 13 years apart. But this van that I have does have a lockdown device and a seatbelt, and I've never had a van with neither one. Any kind of lockdown device. Because if I would have ever gotten in an accident,
right,
I would have went through the windshield.
Right.
I mean, and that's how important this is to me. And if something's wrong, if somebody was to hit me in my van, depending on whatever the reason may be, I mean, I'm just without anything because I don't have public transit out where I live.
Sure. Sure.
But getting back to your original question, I get up in the morning. I take a shower. I have a nurse that dresses me. They're here for just a few hours, then I'm up in my wheelchair, and then I leave, go to the sheriff's office, and I stay there until unless I'm feeling bad and want to come home earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But I go do clerical type stuff that they tell me to do, and I cannot receive pay because of the fact that if I receive the pay and Social Security determines that you can live off of that pay, you lose the Social Security. And the money is important. What's worse for me is the Medicare part, because without Medicare, I can't get Medicaid,
Mm-hmm.
which is vital to me because I could get sick at any point,
Right.
end up in an emergency room.
Right.
And but I go. I'm out. I have to wear shirt and tie. I try to look the best I can, because I'm depending on someone else to getting me dressed and whatnot. And my other days, I have a treatment here at my home that I have to. I'm here every day on the Tuesdays, Thursdays, and weekends. And right now, with all the budget cuts, I'm pretty scared about my hours that
Sure.
I receive.
Sure.
Which it doesn't have anything to do with the it's just the van note takes it's such a big portion of my check, and it's worth it. It's just that I know, I get to the point where, like right now, I only have $32.17 in my checking account.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nobody's fault. It just, I just made a terrible, terrible mistake when I did break my neck, and I don't blame anybody for it. I don't take life for granted anymore. I look at life a whole lot differently, and I don't even mind being broke. It's just the van would help me at least to pay my light bill.
Sure, sure. And so I guess help me understand, because and Chuck, here's the thing, and when people hear the story, I think they're going to be willing to contribute just to get this note down.
Right.
It's a monthly note of $450, correct?
No, it's $487.32.
$487.32,
Right.
And then I think $9,000 roughly is the goal to get that paid off and get it.
I like right now, I believe with them taking off this like my October payment,
Mm-hmm.
because it's automatically debited from my account.
Right.
I have a direct deposit, and I think it brought it down to like 89 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give or take. I would be lying to you if I told you the exact figure, but it's on. I can view it at any given point.
Sure.
And it'll tell me exactly what I owe.
Sure.
But it's somewhere in that range.
Chuck Ashley is who we're speaking with. BrandonsPennies.org is going to be the website for folks to go to make contributions there to get this thing taken care of. You do not drive, correct? Somebody actually drives the van for
Right.
you? Okay.
Right. For the days that I go to the sheriff's office, a deputy comes, picks me up, and they leave another car here, and me and the deputy go in my van to the sheriff's office.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep it with me all day. That way, if I needed to leave, I would have the ability to leave. He could always come back and get the second vehicle anytime he chooses.
Right. I got you.
So, but that's my main, in fact, I don't have anything else to go back and forth.
Sure.
And I knew when I encountered the van, I just wanted something safe where I had a seatbelt and a lockdown device, and I never had that with the other two vans that I did have, because, like I said, if I guess I was just living on God's good graces, because if I would have ever got in an accident, I would have went through the windshield.
Right.
Now, this van at least it locks me down, and I am seat belted.
Sure.
So
So
it's
if we can help alleviate and get rid of this note, then you got that extra 400 and
right.
87, and that's
Yeah,
okay. Well, that's going to
yeah.
be the goal here, Chuck.
To help me to, I mean, I'm talking about whatever like I said, I don't mind being broke. It just
Sure.
it gets, and I know the economy is high. I don't drink or smoke or anything. I have no bad habits. I'm trying to do the best that I can.
Sure, sure.
With what I have. And it's just how you say that you have more month to check.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you run out of There's more
Yeah.
month than money left to
And
go. But
then the money's gonna stretch out. Yeah.
sure. We all understand that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when somebody has a little extra burdens, we want to come along and help, and that's what we're going to be trying to do for you. And Chuck Ashley is whom we're speaking with. BrandonsPennies.org for folks to go to. And I'm just trying to think. I mean, you must obviously have a lot of thoughts, and I mean, your attitude is exemplary. It's awesome, my friend. Tell us.
That's nice of you to say that. Thank you.
And
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, no. Tell us, because we out here, you know what I mean. I guess you've heard that old adage. I used to feel sorry for myself because I didn't have any shoes till I found somebody who didn't have any feet.
Isn't that the truth?
And so, why don't you see this? You're a source of inspiration. I don't know if you know that.
Well, I just, like I said, life dealt me a different kind of hand, and I'm just trying to, make the best of it, of
Sure.
what I have. It could be, the way I look at it, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
And, at least I can add 2 and 2 and still come up with the right number.
There you go.
And
what's your degree in? What college?
I got a degree, associate in science and business administration from Delgado. Whenever I was going to Delgado, living in New Orleans, I lived there. At one point, I was evaluated in Shreveport. My plan was never to go to college, but me breaking my neck kind of changed my goals as well as my, what I was going to do in life.
Right.
So I always thought, well, if I do anything in life, it was got to be with my head, thinking and being, computerized stuff.
Right.
Because we didn't even have computers in our school.
Right.
At that point.
Well, here's something that I'm hearing, and I this is the first time I've ever met you, but you got a great voice, you got a great mind, you can be a great counselor on the phone, and I mean, I'm just throwing that out there down the road. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that would like to hear actually, you just be a listener. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that off the top of my head because
it's like I said, there's not a lot. Like I can't go out and wash your car for you,
right?
And I can't do a lot of physical things, but I can respect you, and I can say thank you, and I can always say yes sir to you. I don't I was raised that way, to at least say thank you. And when somebody does something for me, I appreciate it. When I say I appreciate it from my heart, it's from my heart.
Sure.
I'm not saying it just to say it to make the world go round.
No, and I hear that. And here's the thing, too, Chuck. You know the world is one of the biggest character qualities that's missing out here is empathy, and you sure got it, and you sure can give it.
Thank you so much.
What else can we possibly, you say, maybe just to help us help you?
It's, like I said, it's mainly just to help me, like I said, that vandal takes a big, it's hard for me, but I know on the other end of, I need a way to, anywhere I go, I use it, unless it's like before having to go by ambulance.
Sure. Well,
and so I don't have alternative transportation.
Right. I got you. Well, as I'm understanding how this thing is developing, the BrandonsPennies.org is going to be the site, and then I think they were going to set up a little side thing, and we called it Chuck's Wagon. Did Dot tell you that?
Well, no, I didn't get to talk with her in depth about it. Just real briefly. I was trying to get the pictures of myself in the van to her.
Mm-hmm. I got them.
And we were never able to like talk in depth about it.
Well,
You know,
and actually, this thing is just being created as we go. So, I mean, there's no master plan. It just is unfolding as it's happening. So I kind of, she told me about Chuck, and I'm thinking, oh, his van and Chuck's wagon. So let's get this thing taken care of so you can move on to bigger and better things.
yeah, and it's just like I said, I get scared because I'm not going to have, X amount to be able to make, my bills. I mean,
Right. What
and,
other bills do you have that maybe the audience could understand?
well, I mean, I just have just regular house bills. I have a house note. I have, just regular like cable.
Mm-hmm.
What you call it? I'm all electric.
Right.
Yes, I don't have gas.
Right.
But it's just, you have to at some point in your your money, you have to figure out. Well, I have to figure out something to eat.
Sure.
I got to get something. And I try to eat the best I can. Of the things that I need. Things that are healthy because I am diabetic, so I can't just eat anything.
Right. Right. I got you. Well,
But
go ahead.
But anyway, I mean that's like I said, the van. It's just I'm so grateful for it. It's just it takes like over almost half of my income.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I knew that before I bought it. I mean, I knew it was going to take up. I didn't want to get killed either in an accident.
Sure. Well,
So,
let's stay in touch, and
Okay.
let's see where this goes and grows, and let's get this thing taken care of. And this is the beauty of this, Chuck, is there's going to be, just like you and I are strangers, but I feel a kindred now. And I mean, there's
I was going to say that. Yeah, I feel like I'd